Happy Wednesday, Print Fam. Welcome to the car. This morning has been a little unproductive. I recorded a podcast with Derek. You can check out our podcast down in the links below. And then I did a few little administrative things, responded to a couple of emails. Whew. It's only 2. And then I came to make a delivery, stopped by Home Depot to pick up some electrical wire to get our microwave installed finally for the kitchen. So, not a very productive day. I do need to get home to get some homeschool curriculum printed and possibly some business cards if I get the approval by the time I get home. But yeah, I have a couple sticker orders to print and some design work to do, but not much else. So today we're going to talk about the different methods to decorate shirts. So let's jump right into it as soon as we get back to the office. We're back. The first method is heat transfer vinyl, or HTV. There are 2 types of heat transfer vinyl, or I'm sure there's more, but there's really solid colored vinyl, and it comes in lots of colors, and I don't even have them all. I will link some resources down below where you can look at all the different colors and all the different styles. They are affiliate links, so if you do buy something, I'll make a commission. But heat transfer vinyl. That's how I got started. I started with a little 28-inch cutter, well, little relative, 28-inch cutter. It cost me a few $100s, and then I bought just a basic 15 by 15 heat press. Again, I'll link everything down below, and that's how I got started. I started doing heat transfer vinyl. Now, another part of heat transfer vinyl is printed heat transfer vinyl. So you have this is actually the printed stuff, and then this is the mask. I printed on my HP Latex. They do have cheaper printers, like you can get the BN20 that does it. That's probably the cheapest one I know. There is a step down, which I don't consider a form of commercial decorating, where you can get like inkjet transfers to do on your home printer, but I don't find that viable for a business, so I'm not going to talk about that. But again, you have solid colored, and then you have printed, and for the solid color you just need a vinyl cutter, and if you want to do printed you need a large format printer. Again, you can get a BN20, I think they're about 4,000 new, so used you can probably get them for an even better deal. Method number 2, embroidery. Mr. Bach. This is where you sew. It's very popular for polos, for hats, and I'm sorry for the construction noise next door, but it's a great way to have a little bit more of a professional look. You can do like things on collars, things on sleeves. There's lots of options. You can also make patches with embroidery, which we'll talk about patches and stuff in a little bit. You can get embroidery machines in a single needle, a 15 needle, a 12 needle, a 9 needle, a multi-head, a single head, a networking head. So there's lots of different options for embroidery. Option 3, and yes, my office is messy. That's the way I like it. White toner transfer. This is a great next step from vinyl, in my opinion. Vinyl has its place, white transfer has its place. The one thing that's nice about white toner is that you can do really intricate designs, you can do really small designs, and you don't have to weed. That's the worst part about traditional vinyl that's behind you. They have a lot of different sizes of printers. They come in different prices. You can also get sublimation, which we'll talk about sublimation in a minute. But white toner is a great option. I'll leave a link down below. I should say that with all the methods I've previously mentioned, they do require a heat press. So I didn't start with a $2,000 heat press. In fact, I didn't even pay $2,000 for that one. I started with a little $300 15 by 15 heat press, and it worked great. I even did some white toner with my little 15 by 15 heat press, and it worked great too. So keep that in mind. You may see that I have a bunch of things, but one, I'm in a lot of debt, and two, I'm struggling right now, and three, I've been in business 10 years. So make sure you take your time to get here. Now, this next method, I don't have the machine to do it. For a decent US made machine, or at least a US supported machine, I don't know if they're all made in the US, I know some of them are. They're about 25, 30, well, I lied. You can get them as low as about 15, but to get all the accessories, then you're typically looking in the $20,000, $25,000 range. Direct to garment. This is basically like a home printer on steroids that you load a shirt onto or a bag or something, and it prints directly on it. It does require pre-treat, which is why I'm saying all the accessories behind it. It requires pre-treat and a few other things. You, again, need to have a heat press. So the internet gives direct-to-garment a lot of hate, and I think that's because, like a lot of machines, people jump in and buy them, like I did. And with the DTG, you need to run them. They need to be run almost every day, or you waste a lot of money in ink, you waste a lot of money in print heads, and they require maintenance because they're not being used like they should. If you're running a DTG every day, it's worth it. Now, the cost of a DTG to print is higher than some of the other methods we've already talked about. It's lower than some of the others, but it has its place. DTG is more meant for those one-off type things. If you are focused on doing small orders, lots of colors, and the customization, because then you can justify charging that price for a shirt. If you're charging $20, $30, $40, $50 for a shirt, it's okay to run the DTG and to justify that cost. If you're doing hundreds of shirts, DTG is typically not the best choice. Do I look smarter without my glasses on? Speaking of direct-to-garment not being the right choice for large run, let's talk about screen printing. Screen printing is actually relatively affordable to get into. I personally feel that it's more of an art than just kind of like a push button thing like a latex would be, or less so about embroidery. Embroidery is still an art, but I think screen printing is more of an art. Screen printing is expensive if you're only doing onesie twosies because of all the time and effort to set up the screen, burn the screen, align it, get everything going in that sense. But if you're doing a large chunk of shirts, then it's more cost effective. The ink is relatively inexpensive, and it's a lot faster usually. So screen printing is a great way. I don't do screen printing myself because, again, I feel like it's more of an art. I use a contract screen printer, but I'll leave some links to some basic screen printing equipment. I've thought about getting like a one head or maybe a two head, but again, I just don't want to get into it right now. But screen printing is a great way for large orders to bring down the cost. Another fun method that's related to heat press related stuff is dye sublimation. Dye sub is printed on a printer similar to my HP Latex, but it uses a different kind of ink, dye sublimation ink. And the process of dye sublimation is you use pressure and heat, and it causes an actual transformation where that color becomes a permanent part of the fabric. Now, the downside to dye sublimation is it has to be polyester. You can't do it on other garment types. There are like people coming out with these like cotton variations and things. I haven't personally tried them, and according to the original science of it, polyester. Now it does allow for some really cool things, especially if you're doing the dye sub and then cutting it out and then sewing it. You can do the full wraparound shirts and the pants. That's where a lot of like sponsored things are. Like you see bikers that have the full wrap. They dye subbed some fabric, cut it out, and then they sew it. So dye sub is a great way. Dye sub is actually also a good method to do decoration of physical items. So things like coffee cups, coasters, tiles, keychains. There's a lot of different blanks that you can get that use dye sublimation, and it's relatively affordable to get into. You can buy a mini little printer that's in about the $1,000 range, or you can go all the way up to like a large format printer, which is in the $5,000–6,000 range. So I'll leave some links down below for that as well. It's something that I think I would like to get into eventually, but again, dye sublimation printers are kind of the same as DTG, that you do need to run them. The nice thing though about dye sublimation is they're a lot more affordable to run, and the paper you use for that transfer process is really cheap. Really cheap. As a note, you can actually get dye sub toner for the Uninet printers, which is a cool little addition. Now, the last group of things I'm going to talk about are pre-purchased things. You can buy these machines and do them yourself, but usually it's best to just buy them, especially if you're just starting out. And these are what I consider transfers. Now you can get screen printed transfers, you can buy pre-made heat transfers like HTV vinyl transfers, you can buy rhinestones, you can buy digitally printed screen transfers where they use toner to print and then they underbase it with a white plastisol screen printed ink. You can do patches, you can do embroidered patches, leather patches, silicone patches, all sorts of different patches. They have sequins, so many different options. And the nice thing about those is you buy the transfers, and you usually buy them in bulk. I got a bunch of them right up there. And all you need is a heat press. So as long as you have a heat press, you can buy these transfers. And there's lots of suppliers. I'll link to some down below, but it makes it really easy to get started. And it makes it really easy that it's okay, maybe I want to start a screen printing business, but I'm just going to start by buying screen printed transfers. Or maybe I want to get into dye sublimation, but right now I'm just going to buy dye sublimation transfers. Or maybe I want to do rhinestones, but rather than buying the vinyl and the foam and the stones, I'm just going to buy the rhinestone transfers made. So it's a great way to get started because all you need is a heat press. So that about covers it. There are a few odd end decoration methods that I've seen, like debossing or embossing, where you use heat to form the clothing, or I'm starting to see some laser etching on some apparel. But if there's something major that you feel that I missed, make sure you leave it down in the comments. I do think I covered most of the things, and most of the common things anyway. Every method that I mentioned I have done. I don't necessarily do a lot of it now. The methods that I do the most are solid vinyl, so just cut vinyl, HTV. I don't do a lot of printed vinyl, but I do some depending on the design. I do a lot of white toner. I do direct screen printing, screen printed transfers, and I'm just starting to get into dye sublimation because I found a good source to buy just the print sheets rather than having to own the machine myself. So if I missed one, leave it down in the comments, but let's see what else we got to do today, and we'll wrap up the vlog. It's time to call it a night, print fam. It's 1 a.m. I'm just finished working. I took a break for a little bit, went swimming with the family, so my hair's a little bit messy. I wasn't going to go swimming. I was just going to go spend some time with them at the neighbors because one of our neighbors has a pool and they invited us over. And excuse me, when I got there, they convinced me to get in the pool. So I'm actually wearing the exact same outfit. I just have like 5 of these shirts and like 3 pairs of these shorts. So the other pair of shorts and shirt are drying. And it was a good time. I'm glad I got in. I'm glad I spent time with the family. And unwound a little bit. Time lapse today didn't do much, but we did get some stickers printed for a member of the print fam, Dan. So we got those printed, ready to go. They're in this nice hot pink mailer. We also did some perforated vinyl for Bob, and he's going to pick that up first thing tomorrow. So I won't be probably in the office yet. Whew, lots of yawning today. So he'll pick it up and go install it and do whatever it is that he's going to do. I'm really hoping that we can help get Bob's commission up a little higher so he doesn't have to get another job, because I like working with him. I think he likes this job, and it just all comes down to money. So hopefully we can get him some more work so that he could stay. Hopefully I could get some more work so I can stay in business. So the plan is in motion. I have some stuff at the Penji. Links down to Penji if you want to try it yourself. They're my design service. You get 15% off if you use my affiliate link. So we have some stuff at Penji to move forward with saving the print shop. So lots of good stuff going on today, and I'm excited. Whew, I'm really sorry. It's late. I need to go to bed. I'm really excited for what the future holds. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I really hope that I can do it, and I think I can. But it's definitely nerve-wracking and hard, and we'll get through. But this is why I like to share with you guys, because I think a lot of you guys can relate to my situation. A lot of you guys have been helpful and giving me encouragement and ideas because you've been here before and you're past it, or I know some of you are just shaking your heads at me like you're just thinking I'm an idiot. So, but I appreciate all of you. If you guys do have any questions about what I do, why I do it, how I do it, etc., leave those questions down below. I hope you guys enjoyed today's explanation of the different heat transfer methods, or not heat transfer, different apparel decoration methods, and frankly a lot of them can be used for other things too. Thank you, Cam, for editing the video. Really appreciate you. Just trying to switch things up a little bit, see if you guys notice. If you guys want to support the channel, you can do so with the links down in the description. Patreon, Amazon affiliate, other affiliates, etc. And in case you don't know, an affiliate link is a link to a product or service that I recommend, and if you do decide to buy, I get a small commission. Your price stays the same, but a commission does come back to help the channel. As an example of that, with Amazon, and I think Amazon is the only one I can see what people buy. I can't see who bought it, but I can see what they bought. I can't see that on any of the others. Which is kind of sad, because I wish I could understand and know what people buy so that I could know what videos to make that would be helpful. But as an example of the commission that I earn, someone bought Back to the Future Part 3. One of my favorite. I love the Back to the Future franchise. And I made 20 cents. So it's not much, but every 20 cents counts. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And we'll see you in tomorrow's vlog, print fam.
Huge shout out to our patrons over at patreon.com/TTMS.